Right, I printed this Skelator this morning. This is going to just be a quick video showing how I do a cleanup on it. Maybe a little awkward because I'm doing this with one hand, so I may have to prop the phone up. This is the resin I am using. The gray. This is illegal Mars. So cleanup is really easy. Typically you pop them off, let them drain. You change the angle, let them drain some more. And that way you get any and all extra resin off. You want to be as frugal as possible, you know, because resin is pretty expensive. So this is regular alcohol, regular rubbing alcohol, which is a little bit precious right now. So that's what this mixture is here. I try to put my lid back on. I got a lid that has a seal on it, so when I pop it closed, it doesn't evaporate as quick. But it is just regular rubbing alcohol. You can use denatured alcohol and stuff like that, but it's just regular rubbing alcohol. Pop it off. Oh, do want to wear gloves when you're messing with uncured resin because it is toxic. So let me see here. If I can prop this up a little bit. You should be able to see. So essentially what I'm just going to do is take my spatula here and find a corner and pop it off into that water. That was that easy. That's how easy it is to get off the build plate. I wipe my build plate back down. Nice and clean. Tighten it back up. I make sure I do not, if I knock this loose, I have to re-level everything. But I'll leave that and it's fine. And I'll go ahead and put my lid back on. At this point, I can get another print going. I mean, I'm done with my printer. I can get another print going and keep cleaning. So what I typically do is I put it in here, close my lids, give it a good swish or two, and it's just in there. That's going to knock off a lot of the bigger, larger amounts of resin. Just swish, swish, swish. Fairly aggressive. Not, you know, I'm not trying to, not knocking it like I'm rattling paint or anything like that. That's out of there. And this is one of the things that I know people who've done regular 3D prints. This is one of the things that's the most annoying, is getting all of the supports off. And you can see this guy's, assuming you can see, yeah, you can see pretty good. This guy's got a pretty good amount of supports on them. I did custom supports here. The other thing is you lay it back a little bit, and that way any supports is on the back versus as few supports on the front as possible. So, but essentially, guys, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And I'll come in here and just be able to knock these loose. I did a lot of heavy supports down there, so I'm gonna have to get something to pry that free. But I'm 60% done already. Boom! Look at that. Look at that. Now just little small cleanup work, which what I'll do is I'll grab like a little small screwdriver here. And I know if you can see, I'm not where I can see the monitor, but I got stuff under his cowl, you know, little small stuff, and I'll just go through and just clean that junk up. All those little bitty tiny supports, and they just pop right on off. I got supports down in his eyes, under his cowl, all over the place. And I just go through and I just clean it up, and it's quick compared to the filament. Make sure I'm still somewhat centered. And I probably went a little overboard with putting supports. Like I said, I did the custom supports. There's probably places I didn't have to do them. Like down here, that's just probably wasn't necessary, but I did it anyway. Better safe than sorry. And there's very little cleanup need to be done. That's knocking loose. Relatively clean. So I'm gonna throw him back into the resin bath. Now right now he's starting to get a little tacky because he's drying out, but that's the resin that's on there that's tacky. And so in a minute we're gonna take our, well, just throw it in there. So I'm gonna throw him back in there. He is hollow, so there's holes down the bottom. Can you see? Yeah. So there's holes in the bottom. I do want to fill those up. I typically do a hole at the top and the bottom. I'm experimenting with just doing the bottom. I'm gonna close that down and I'm gonna shake it like a maraca. And what I'm gonna do is make sure I rinse off as much resin from inside as possible. And just drain that back out. Throw them back in there. I'm gonna go ahead and shake the whole thing. Now you can get ultrasonic beds. I've been told ultrasonic beds work great. The thing is with resin, you don't really want to do, with alcohol, you do not want to do ultrasonic beds if you have the alcohol in the bed. You can put it in a sealed container and then put it in there and that should work. But those ultrasonic beds can produce heat and alcohol. Well, I shouldn't have to tell you the rest of it, but that's flammable. This is really cool because I can pull that out and I don't have to put my hand all the way in there. Let that drain out the back, the bottom. Good and drained. So what I'm gonna do now is grab my toothbrush. This is, just an old one. Grab them, and I'm just gonna start scrubbing. I just rinsed it in there. I'm gonna start just scrubbing everywhere. Now this is to get off as much of the extra leftover resin as possible. This also knocks off any little small of those filaments. Not filament, yay. Any of that leftover resin. I mean, it's just that's what I'm doing. I'm just cleaning it. I'm giving it a nice, good bath. Scrubby dub. Just keeping it wet from time to time. Now you can, as you do that, now if I let it dry back out a little bit more, you can kind of tell how clean it's getting based on how less tacky it is. You just won't be tacky. That's a piece of that supports that I just want to make sure it does not stay on here when I get to go to cure it. And the other thing is that this is about the only thing I really have to watch for is the supports that don't come off. So after I clean it real good, I don't know if y'all can see, they have almost looks like pimples. Can you see that? Looks like pimples. I just take my little bitty file here. I'm just going to do a quick once over and knock all those free. Now this is the bottom, so I'm not worried about it being ugly or nothing like that. I just want to make sure it can sit flat, and it can. It's nice and flat. It didn't warp on me. And I could start feeling at them and see how tacky. If I got a spot that's super tacky, I'll go and wash that again, or scrub it down some more. That's a little tacky. And it's a little hard to feel through your gloves, but you definitely want to keep your gloves on. And this alcohol evaporates really, really fast. Just make sure you scrub all that excess resin off. So one, when you get an extra resin off, you allow more details to pop through. So it's really hard to see probably through here, but that little snake wrapped around his waist, actually you can see individual scales. It's kind of cool. It's not super detailed, but the effort was made. I think I would have had it at a larger size. It would have been plenty detailed, but I had to shrink this down a good bit to get on the bed of the Mars. He's got those crazy wide shoulder pads. All right, so I think he's been cleaned enough. So what I typically do, once I feel like I'm clean, I go ahead and use, let me put the lid back on the regular alcohol, my alcohol bath. I go ahead and use some IPA that's in a spray bottle. The reason I do this is because you can see how dirty that's getting. And that's pretty new, it's pretty fresh. But I use this spray bottle so I can just give them a good rinse without wasting so much resin or so much alcohol. I just realized I'm probably off screen again. So I'm just gonna do that. Not with that one, that one's kind of dirty. And just pat them dry. Either pat them dry or let them just go ahead and sit and dry, but I kind of want to make sure there's nothing left on here. Sometimes I rinse them 2 or 3 times if I found a lot more trash on them. So I would let them dry for a minute. But we're fixing to, for the purpose of this video, oop, there's something there. Look, buddies. I left one in there. What I get from running my mouth. Let's see if I can get that off. Yep, that is still attached. And there's one down here. That's just a loose piece. It won't be perfect. It's never perfect. Come on, focus. One little pimple. No, that's just loose too. All right, so the next thing to do is this is just water. Regular straight water, and I have aluminum foil wrapped around it and then taped on. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that guy in there. Now this is not necessarily required to do it quite like this, but I am seeing a better results with this. So what I'm gonna do, this is a mirror, a very dirty mirror, but it's a mirror. And then I have a light over here. I'm gonna set that onto here. Now I have no clue how well this is gonna show up. Cut this on. So I'm just gonna let that sit in there for just a moment, like 10 seconds or so, and then I'll flip it, and I'll just go ahead and pull it out, flip it, and do it again. Yeah, like I said, I could start another print right now. If I had one loaded up, you just put it on your flash drive, load it on there. There's just some. And you can see I did a hole on top of here. That way when they're hanging, that last little bit of resin can drain out that way. But I think I'm gonna stop doing that and just put large holes at the bottom. And so I can rinse that out. So I did those guys. That's gonna be, I'm gonna be putting out aluminum foil on that so I can make that a big curing spot. And that's what's going on here. Ooh, bright light. That's what's going on here is I'm curing that water. So I'm gonna go and cut that off real quick so we're not killing the light or killing the so I'm gonna reach in. Flip them over. Didn't want to try to. I got too much water out of it. So the cool thing with the water allows that resin to kind of get a better penetration. Also, because it refracts, I don't know, it just refracts better, everything I've said. Also, the oxygen kind of interferes. Let me get something to stand that up. The oxygen can kind of interfere a little bit, so with the curing process. So by having it in a water bath, that allows for a stronger resin, stronger curing. So, and I just put the mirror and stuff just to allow it to refract a little bit more. Oh, turn that off because you don't need to see that. Just a few more seconds, guys, and it will be done. Question, comments, concerns, just drop some information. And if you want to know something, this is my old TiVo. I'm having a lot of trouble with it. I think my hot end is just shot. Also my oh good God, my mom's gonna go one here. I think this sprocket in here, the cog in here is shot too. So all in all, I'm not having fun. That's an older TiVo, I think 4 or 5 years old. They have like 2 different iterations since then. This is the regular Mars, not the Pro, even though it's got the silver. It's just a different variation. I don't know why it was silver. It's just the one I ordered on Amazon. Yeah, that should be done. I'm gonna not get the bright light on it again. That should be done. Off with the mirror. Let's just pull this over here. The curing in water is actually faster, and you can over cure. You can burn it out, and you'll tell because you'll come out and it'll have kind of an orange tint to it. And you know it's cured that when it's completely not tacky. I mean, there's no tackiness to it at all. Dry that guy up a little bit. You can hit it with air gun, whatever you want to do. I usually just set it down and let it dry. There it is. There's Skelator, ready to be painted. Can you see the snake? There it goes. How cool is that, guys? Again, that took way too long because I was running my mouth and doing things one-handed, mostly. But you can clean these quick. You can clean resin prints quick if you design the supports well. And there's just almost no scarring left in my supports. The bottom had some, and I sanded most of that off. There's still some remnants. That's okay, because he sits like he's supposed to sit. Like, I think this guy rocks a little, but I just need to sand that down a little bit more. It'll have the, this is still got a little shiny because he's wet, but it'll look more like that. See what I mean by he's small. But that's it. That's removing filaments. That's how you clean a resin print. People kind of ask me that compared to a filament print, a FDM printer, which removing filaments usually requires clippers and cussing, and then you still got to sand a lot. You still got to do a lot of prep to get them smooth. That is straight out of the printer, out of the alcohol. Ready to, literally dry it and you can paint it. It can be painted today with no extra work. How cool is that? All right, cheers.